On November the 8th, 2013, Super Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines in Southeast Asia. It brought winds of over 230 miles per hour and a huge storm surge, over 5 meters high. In just 16 hours, the typhoon beat a deadly 25-mile wide path right across the country's central islands. More than 6,000 people were killed and 4 million left homeless, triggering a massive humanitarian aid operation. The disaster made news around the world, but behind the headlines, there's another untold story. In a country where a third of the population rely on farming to survive, millions of animals were also affected by the typhoon. I'm Michael Mosley, and I've come to the Philippines in the aftermath of Haiyan to follow a unique team of vets. They fly into the world's worst disaster zones, from droughts to floods, from earthquakes to tsunamis.
Please go and check house by house how many animals so we can strategize.
The vet's goal is not only to rescue animals.
See you in the field. Bye-bye.
But to turn this disaster into an opportunity to improve animal welfare in the long term. I think you've done a splendid thing here. I think you're doing a really good thing here.
With vitamins?
Thank you.
I want to see exactly what happens when the team deliver emergency aid and discover how the innovative methods they bring
It's surprisingly effective.
could save the lives of many animals and the people who depend on them.
I don't know how to stand again.
The next time a disaster strikes.
The typhoon did a great deal of damage, but it could, in the end, do a great deal of good.
The team first arrived in the Philippines 4 days after Typhoon Haiyan hit. They work for the World Society for the Protection of Animals, a charity which funds an international network of specialist vets.
Then they said, yes, we don't have much to eat.
They continually monitor the world for potential disasters.
This is New Washington, which looks now like an atomic bomb dropped on them.
We've got a clear rollout over more than a period of 3 days there.
James Sawyer is Director of Global Disaster Management.
When a disaster strikes, we'll try and assess what the animal need is. I will make a decision within 12 hours as to whether we should deploy a team to go and have a look at that situation. And our teams normally get there within 4 days. The surprising thing about Cyclone Haiyan was that it was looking like a kind of pretty medium-grade cyclone and then became a superstorm. So we had 24 hours notice, really, of how bad it was going to be.
The charity has spent 50 years working in disaster zones, so their vets have a well-practiced system for delivering aid. The team first make a rapid assessment of animal health.
You can prepare, you can equip yourself, you can be confident about your experience, but what you find on the ground is different every single time.
There is no milk here.
After identifying the worst-hit areas, they go from village to village, setting up mobile clinics to treat as many animals as possible. Even animals which aren't badly injured by the immediate impact of a disaster can quickly die as a result of secondary infections, lack of shelter, food, or clean water. The pressure on their time is immense.
1, 2, 3, go! It's hot, sweaty, dirty, hard work, long hours. There's always one more animal. Just as you're packing up the van, someone appears with another chicken or another cow.
James's team each have a vital role to play.
Turn around.
Lead vet Juan Carlos Murillo has spent more than 20 years traveling from one disaster to the next.
Wars, hurricanes, earthquakes, typhoons, tsunamis. Whatever they send me, whatever they request me to be, I'll be there.
They're coming from that farm, the survivors.
Head of this operation is Gerardo Huertas. He decides where the team focuses its efforts.
When we land in a place, it's usually being ravaged by nature.
It's always in a mess, it's always chaos. And you need to put together something that makes sense inside that chaos.
So if you need additional medication, just let me know.
Cynthia Diaz, the newest member of the team, is in charge of logistics.
And the sense of emergency you have in every disaster actually keeps you alive. And the faster you move, the most animals you can reach.
The team is one of two dispatched by the charity to the Philippines, a vast archipelago of over 7,000 islands. Following an appeal from the local government, they're focusing their efforts on the island of Panay. Roughly half the size of Wales, it has a population of 4 million.
Panay was kind of forgotten as an island. It's quite agricultural. People's livelihoods and their futures are absolutely woven into the lives of animals.
Today, the vets are working in a remote coastal village. When the typhoon swept through here, it devastated the local fishing industry.
You think 70% of the fishing boats here have been destroyed. That makes them more reliant on the animals, not less, because fishing boats cost money to build, especially ones with engines.
Tens of millions of Filipinos rely on animals for their livelihoods.
We only have time for two things. One is the goats at the end.
Okay.
And I know the pigs cannot come here, so we will go to see the pigs.
Okay. To the people who has their chickens with them right now. And then...
Right now, perfect.
Let's quickly split out what you need.
The vets treat urgent cases first, then work through each species, one at a time.
There is
Has a tracheitis, which is a swelling of the trachea. And it's difficult for him to breathe, so we will provide some long-action antibiotic so the animal can breathe better. Sorry, buddy.
Super Typhoon Haiyan, known locally as Yolanda, killed more than 6 million animals. Those that were badly injured didn't last long.
Those animals that could not recover by themselves, then the owners, to avoid loss the whole animal, they then sell the animal or take the animal to the abattoir to be slaughtered and take advantage at least of the meat.
The vet's initial aim is to prevent animals which survived the typhoon from falling sick and dying. The drugs in their mobile medical kits are based on years of experience.
How much?
We will have half a cc.
Those animals, like people, when they get stressed, their immune system will drop, and that'll make them more susceptible to infections. So we do carry and administer a lot of antibiotics.
Okay, we have a wound here. Yeah, antibiotic and anti-inflammatory, please.
Parasites find it easier to infect weakened animals, so the team carry deworming medicine.
We'll use a deworming too, because there are also parasites on the skin. And finally, she needs more vitamins to get better. This is painful. Please hold.
To combat the effects of malnutrition, they administer multivitamins and minerals.
It might sound kind of simple and straightforward, but the combination of those drugs and treatments really do make a huge difference to animals in the aftermath of a disaster.
After typhoons and other disasters, the spread of disease is a major concern. So the vets must follow strict biosecurity protocols.
We're obviously very concerned about zoonotic diseases, ones that spread between animals and people. In floods, we quite often see outbreaks of leptospirosis, bird flu, swine flu. They are quite significant public health concerns. And of course, Asia is the birthplace, really, of those.
Ready for the next.
The animals here are a vital part of the economy. El Madayo is a father of 3 who relies on a single pig for his children's education.
A new syringe, please.
With vitamins?
Yes, please. Thank you. This is the normal behavior, vocalization, high vocalization. So we were not harming them. And we use the neck because for ham production purposes, we cannot harm the legs. So that we use the neck.
Dako gidi ang mabulig kay ti amo man na nagapaeskwela sang mga kabataan. amo gid. Sang bata sa kolehiyo, another pag ang sobra, amo naman ibakal sang gamay nga baboy, kaga amo naman padako na muna.
Okay.
Well, that's all they have left. They don't have any homes. The boats are broken. And if they ever have a chance, their kids have a chance to go to school, it's because of the little savings they have in their pigs. They know exactly what the pigs are for, chickens are for, the goats are for. We're talking first communion, going to school, getting married. Cows are for hospital costs.
It's all so interrelated. You lose a pig, you lose a child going to school, you lose an opportunity for the country, individuals and communities to improve, to further their lives and have aspiration to have maybe many of the things that we want as well.
After treating 9,000 animals in 3 weeks, the vets are today on their way to see a farmer, one amongst 1 million affected by the typhoon. This is Jennifer Inamaga, whose farm supports her extended family of 14. It is also a major source of eggs and meat for the local community. Before the typhoon, she had 37 pigs and over 1,000 chickens. Now she is left with very little.
I need your help.
We will do our
Almost
best.
everything is already gone.
Yes.
I don't know how to stand again. And it's very, it's very sad to say na you're in other country, you help us, but
No, don't worry about that.
the people
You saw us.
around there is no one help us. That's why I'm very thankful to you, all of you.
We'll do our best to help, seriously.
She's lost pretty much everything. I mean, other than one group of kind of poultry that we're going to help. You don't just get a whole new bunch of pigs and chickens overnight, and it's the breeding and things like that. It's, we have to get on with doing what we do, and there's still some animals still alive here. It is quite an upsetting experience at times. For a lot of us, it's just nice to get home and play with the kids, things like that,
The team can, on this occasion, do little. And soon they head off to other disaster zones.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Don't worry.
But they plan to return. And when they do, they will use Jennifer's farm to test out a novel idea. One that could have a major impact on the lives of animals throughout the Philippines. It's 3 months now since Typhoon Yolanda, and I'm on my way to meet up with the vets who are all arriving from different parts of the world. They have done stage 1 of their mission, which was relief. Now they're moving on to stage 2, which in many ways is harder, recovery. I trained as a doctor, and I've seen the emergency services at work in war zones. But I'm very curious to find out what emergency vets do and the unusual challenges they face here in the Philippines. I also have a personal connection to this place. My father worked in Manila when I was a child, and I spent my early years here. This will be my first trip back since I was 5.
Have you met?
No, we haven't.
I'm sorry.
Michael, this is Jennifer. This is Jennifer.
I'm joining the vets team, who are back at Jennifer's ruined farm, to take the first steps in a new project.
So did you have a bulldozer or was this dug out by hand?
By hand. We're doing it a primitive way.
We are moving on from that immediate phase to now looking at the kind of longer term, build back better work, looking at the next one rather than the last one.
The recent super typhoon has created the chance to try something completely new to the Philippines.
For those people who get hit by typhoons and hurricanes, we just need to help them reduce their vulnerabilities. Coming time after time to pick up the broken plates, it's sad. That's just not a good idea.
A section of Jennifer's land has been cleared, and construction is underway on a group of new buildings designed by Gerardo. His aim is to make this place the first typhoon-proof farm in the country. The scheme consists of a pig pen and 2 underground animal shelters, one for pigs and one for chickens.
So the biggest problem is designing it in such a way the wind doesn't come in underneath and lift the whole thing up, is that right?
Lift it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the plan there is to put on a bamboo slats on the top of it. So it's going to be what we call it a weight, and the side of it would be covered with soil. So no wind would go in.
This shelter is based on a large trench covered by a low roof, constructed from natural materials.
We saw it first in Cuba, the underground shelters. The most important concept there is to keep a really low profile on the roofs so the winds do not pick on them.
Gerardo has adapted the original concept. His design can be built with skills and materials available in the Philippines.
Everything is made out of local materials. All they really need is a bit of wire there, the odd nail and hammer. And I guess that's the point. They're trying to create something here which they can test, which could be built anywhere by anybody.
Jennifer's main source of income came from breeding, fattening and selling her pigs for slaughter. Now she has none.
The piglet,
Yeah.
when they are small, we put it there in the...
Right. Right, and the roof was all ripped off by the typhoon, was it?
Yes, the piglet is all dead.
Surprisingly, half the animals lost in this kind of disaster die in the hours after the storm has passed.
And of course it's really important for pigs to have shade. So the moment this was all ripped off, even the pigs that survived would have succumbed to heat stress really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And if you think about how hot concrete gets in the sun, you know...
Yes, no, quite.
It got pretty ugly pretty quickly here for the pigs, I think.
So, Gerardo and his team have come up with a novel way of protecting the roof from future typhoons. They have designed a pig pen with a detachable roof, which can be stowed away during the storm and replaced when it's over.
So the bolts come out and what? It just slides into 2 parts smoothly?
Now, yes, 2 parts, but I want to slide it, I want to divide it in 4 parts, so it's easier to bring down. Once you take the bolts, it's going to slide it.
Yeah, the roof will slide like that.
Has this actually been tested out in a typhoon before?
No. We've never found a location like this where we know and pretty much guarantee that this stuff will be tested.
Unfortunately, they are short of time. The team have a week to complete the shelter and restock it with animals. If they succeed, this project will revive Jennifer's livelihood. But even more important, it will be the prototype for a pioneering way of safeguarding animals that could be spread across the country.
If it works, it's big. It's very good. If it works.
Pigs are the most economically important animals in the Philippines. They are also one of the most vulnerable to storms. Building back the population is key to recovery.
We're very keen on where restocking has to happen, for it to focus on local breeders and local breeds, because they're more likely to survive in those conditions.
I'm off to see one of the local university vets, who's doing his bit to restore pig numbers to pre-typhoon levels. 12 million, to be exact.
We're off to pick up some pig sperm
The local population of pigs crashed after the typhoon, partly because a large number of them died and partly because the stress of the typhoon meant that their reproduction levels have gone right down. So the local university are inseminating, and a lot of artificial insemination going on. Not something I've ever seen before. Morning.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Dr. Kanoy, a vet from Auckland State University, specialises in artificial insemination. The pigs are around the back, are they?
Yes, sir. Yeah. From teaching.
Since the typhoon, demand has soared. Whoa, blimey. Wow, he is large.
Yes, yes.
The boar is 5 years old and weighs 400 kilos.
It's already dangerous.
Ooh, you.
Just a little bit.
It's an impressive pair of testicles. Really never seen anything quite like it before in my life.
Can you please, for a while, just
Step
stay
back.
there away?
Yeah.
Yes, back here. Yes, up, 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 up.
He's going to get it on that metal thing. What happens next? Boggles my imagination. Right.
Akong bangko.
Extracting sperm from a boar is a tricky process. Can we get closer?
Yeah, I have to do this.
Ooh, you're a brave man. Not sure I'd be volunteering for this. It's a bit like milking a cow, isn't it? Here we go.
It's concentrated.
How are you doing over there? He seems very calm now. He's got a sort of sleepy look to him. Looks a bit like Jeremy Clarkson from this direction. Satisfied.
Please prepare the squeeze bottle.
Dr. Kanoy is preparing the sperm for insemination. 30 bottles for 30 sows. How many piglets would that produce, perhaps?
Average of 10.
10? Wow.
Yeah.
With 10 offspring per bottle, the boar could father 300 piglets today. Impressive.
From the sperm, you can already determine the strength or the weakness of the offspring.
They're a kind of different shape to human sperm. The head is much bigger in human sperm.
And the tail is so short.
Yeah.
But this one, it's almost a slender. Everything from the cup up to the tail.
Right. Interesting.
Yes.
Yes.
This
Wow.
one, you can really see the strength.
Yeah, everyone a winner. This boar's sperm is destined for hundreds of small farms across the region who've requested it for their remaining sows. In pigs, artificial insemination has an amazing 98% success rate. How do you know when you're in the right place?
You have to twist in left side direction.
Dr. Kanoy is one of many doing this work. It's the most efficient way of getting farms without piglets back in business. I'm beginning to appreciate the deep impact the typhoon has had, particularly amongst the remoter communities rarely touched by disaster relief. To reach these places, the charity has begun the other main strand of its mission here. Tomorrow, the team will start training local Filipino vets in emergency work. Tonight, they are preparing the equipment.
For vitamins.
Why does it all end up in your room, Cynthia?
Because I'm the logistic officer. That is the way that a logistic officer room should look like. There's a lot of work behind that needs to be done. And if you made one little mistake, it can delay the whole day. So I better stay up too late. And then when I get back home, I'm just gonna sit and relax and sleep for 2 days.
Cynthia is putting medicines into backpacks that will allow local vets to treat animals in isolated communities. So the idea is the vets will kind of wear one of these, will they?
Yes. Yeah, the idea will be have like the mobile clinic, so they can go deeper into the mountains to reach more animals.
Remember, we're deploying, so we need to get ourselves ready to go quickly.
The next morning, I'm joining the trainees as they assemble with their new backpacks. The charity are buying motorbikes that will turn the local vets into the first mobile veterinary teams in the Philippines.
Getting around is always a problem in disasters, largely because the infrastructure is damaged. In the Pakistan earthquake we responded to in 2006, the communities that were affected were right up in the mountains, and all the passes were closed because of snowfall. So the only access was by helicopter. So sometimes access can be a real issue.
OK, guys, we're all listening. Being in a disaster is different to doing normal veterinary outreach work. In the aftermath of Yolanda, the vet teams couldn't get out to their communities. They couldn't get out to the communities because they didn't have the equipment. They couldn't get out to their communities because they didn't have the transport. So that's what today is about. You're the first of these teams that the Philippines will have seen. Let's do it. Let's get on the move.
Okay. We're heading by motorbike because it is the most convenient way to go, and in some places it's the only way to get there. Right. You ready to go?
See you in the field. Bye-bye. See you in the field.
Today, our destination is a remote village, which the team couldn't reach straight after the typhoon. This may be a training exercise, but the animal need is very real.
Oh, this is more like rural Philippines.
Juan Carlos has drilled the vets in his rapid assessment methods.
Okay, so ask the neighbors how many animals, species, what do they need? Okay, please go and check house by house how many animals so we can strategize, and also how will we prioritize? Remember, prioritize. Okay? Okay. Move now.
What sort of things will you be treating in this village?
Well, normally after a storm, animals that have small cuts, animals that are full of parasites.
Tapeworm, things like that?
Tapeworm, hookworm, roundworms, ringworms. Yeah, lices, mites. It's only vitamin for this cow. Next one. You cannot measure things because how many dead animals? You have to measure in what is the impact this specific event has in this community, has in this animal population, and how can you help them to recover.
This water buffalo, or carabao, is particularly important. Without it, the village would struggle to complete the harvest.
They drag things, they plow the fields, they also carry you to wherever you want to go. They're fantastic animals.
Ooh, that looks nasty.
A fly bite just went bigger, but we're gonna treat him.
Do they get anemic as well? I mean, do you have to give them iron?
Oh yes, a lot of fly bites, a lot of internal parasites.
This carabao is getting vitamins, an antiseptic spray for the bite, and an oral treatment for worms. There's a technique to make a reluctant animal take his medicine.
They put the bottle on one side of the muscle, so with the tongue start to distribute and swallow.
Okay.
You see?
It's very effective, you have to say.
Yeah.
It looks like one of the local brands of alcohol. How quickly before deworming potion gets into action?
About 2 hours later. I love carabaos. I love them very much. Gently, gently.
One of the most critical parts of the training is handling animals. Juan Carlos is teaching the local vets a low-stress technique, invaluable when dealing with tense cattle after a typhoon.
When possible, remember to touch the animal so he can calm down. Let them feel your tranquility, you know?
Yes.
You don't want to harm her, so, okay. Everything is okay. So, what are you going to do with this animal?
Vitamins and deworming.
Do you have prepared the injection?
Is already prepared.
Okay, good.
Not all the trainees have mastered Juan Carlos's methods. Although they are technically accomplished, handling animals is not a big part of their training.
It's really interesting because they were trying to put what JC had taught them into action, and it's clearly quite difficult, so they have resorted to the good old-fashioned way of kind of tug, tug, tug. It's hard. Animal welfare is tough.
You cannot stab the animal, so keep massaging, not cleaning, massaging. Exactly. Do that, and immediately after you do the injection. Exactly, you see.
What do you think about people like JC?
I think they've given us a lot of safer way in administering medication without fully hurting other animals.
Interesting, yes?
Yes.
You find it interesting?
Yes, yes. Especially that kind of restraining. I have not done it before.
Simple holding, simple restraining, nice and easy, smooth.
Good idea.
Yeah, but first, the massage, pow.
Do you feel like you're leaving a legacy behind you?
I hope. I really hope. I really hope to have been of help to these people, mainly for their animals. You know, when you help these animals, you actually are helping the people.
I've come back to Jennifer's farm, where the team has started work on another part of the farm experiment, the floor of the pig pen. Before the typhoon destroyed them, Jennifer, like most other Filipino farmers, kept her pigs in harsh concrete and iron stalls. The new pig pen will be far more comfortable.
You want a hand? There seems to be another machete here.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Chop them as small as... Be careful with your foot, though.
Yeah, I'll try not to chop it off.
It was a great opportunity to show people how to deal with the pre-existing animal welfare conditions by showing a more humane form of farming at the same time.
Gerardo is testing a more pig-friendly floor than the traditional concrete.
You have to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing the pigs in here because I've just been looking at a more traditional pig thing, and it's very distressing. You see them just on concrete in these sort of iron wire cages. You've obviously seen a lot of it, and you can see.
We just couldn't bear keeping the animals in that condition while looking at the roofs. So here we are, doing this thing.
This will allow the pigs to behave as they would in their natural habitat. The new pig pen rests on a foundation, a metre deep, of layer upon layer of organic compost, rotten banana trees, manure, charcoal, and rice husks. It's perfect for pigs who love to root and burrow.
So you're going to fill up the whole of this place?
Yeah.
And you're doing it in kind of layers, are you?
Yes, it's like a cake.
Okay.
And it's about 14 cubic meters.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And how many pigs in here?
12.
There will be 12, okay.
To convince hard-headed farmers to copy this approach, Gerardo will have to prove it is worth the time and money, that happy pigs grow up bigger and more valuable.
In here, we need to weigh them, have a scale around, weigh them every week or every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I want farmers to be invited here and take this place apart, critique it, compare it to what they do, see what they could learn.
And Gerardo's experimental design has one big advantage over traditional concrete stalls. It cleans itself.
I love mangoes this way.
No, I agree. I'm tempted to grab them off you. You chuck the stone in the heart? Yeah, okay, everything in.
This is science in action. We're chopping overripe local fruit to make a mush that will react with the compost.
Juicy.
You know, the idea here with this is to put in the floor, the bed.
Yes. Inside.
Yes.
Oh.
So the poop
Yes.
can get metabolized by the bacteria.
The mush will be left to ferment, then diluted to make a juice, which Jennifer will spray on the floor of the pen. The spray will help break down the piglets' muck, keeping their pen sweet-smelling and hygienic.
It is wonderfully simple, isn't it?
It is, and she knows the deal, so it's going to be easy.
The team are helping Jennifer restore her farm, but their real goal is far more ambitious than simply replacing what was here before.
WSPA in the past used to question why was it that we were helping farm animals if they were in a hell and were going to still be in a hell afterwards. But it's in our DNA that we try to better the living conditions for those guys.
Right. And so if it works here, then the idea can spread somewhere else, you hope. Yes. So the paradox coming here is that I do feel very sorry for Jennifer having her livelihood ripped up. But you can also see that those concrete pens in which she kept the pigs must have been completely miserable with the sow sort of captured in an iron cage. So this represents a huge opportunity to do something. So, you know, the typhoon did a great deal of damage, but it could, in the end, do a great deal of good.
The simple fact is that disaster relief can help thousands of animals. But the team see their real challenge as changing animal welfare conditions, which affect the lives of millions.
Do you think it is because you come in and you give aid after a disaster that governments listen to you?
That opens the door, by all means. That opens a big door because you show up in the time of need.
In the end, it is about relationships, isn't it? That's what humans are good at.
It's funny you say that because people think that we are blessed with playing with animals and touching a lot of animals. 95% of our job is convincing people. The animals don't have a problem. You know, it's easy to deal with them.
It's the politicians, local people, universities, all the other people who, yeah. It's people.
The team regroup after a long day in the field. Time to get nosy. Find out a bit more about their motivation. Being a disaster vet is a risky business. Most have near-death experiences to recount.
So you're the one who's been at it longest then? Round the table?
This table, yeah.
How many years?
32, I think. 31. Afghanistan was not nice. One of the most mined countries in the world. They were bringing their camels with shrapnel. We were treating them. You know, one camel would step on a mine and go to hell, and the rest got shrapnel. So we were just treating them in the local market.
When I first worked out here, I contracted malaria in Ghana, and then it kind of came out when I was there, and it got so bad that by the time they got me out, I had no radial pulse.
Bloody hell.
You know, I was in a complete state, and I'd come back round, and I can remember sitting there in a trolley in a corridor and thinking, I'm going to die on a trolley in a Philippine hospital, like thousands of miles from home.
Blimey, that's quite...
Yeah.
That's quite hardcore.
It's a tough life to lead, balanced family life. I mean, last year I was overseas for more than half the year. And I've got a 1-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son, and I missed both their birthdays last year. It does challenge the kind of a traditional British view of where a dad should be and how a family unit should work.
It seems you need an almost fanatical degree of commitment to do this kind of work.
I alternated between thinking, you know, it's fantastic you're doing it, and thinking you're a hopeless idealist and it's never going to take off. You know?
Well, the thing is, it will never take off if we don't try. If we try, there is a slim chance it will, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's reason.
It will take off if it makes money.
If it makes money, yeah, it will.
It is increasingly clear to me that being an animal aid worker is ethically challenging. What is the point of saving animals if they just end up living lives that are nasty, brutish and short? And what do the team think about delivering aid to a country where standards are different to their own?
Well, I'm heading off to a chicken farm, but it's very different to any other sort of chicken farm that I will have visited before, because these are actually fighting cocks.
Cockfighting is legal and widespread in the Philippines, as well as in many parts of Asia and Latin America. I've come to see it because it's a kind of farming that highlights the challenges that James and his team face. The vets, after all, treated Viking cocks during the rapid relief phase of their operation.
You can't ignore animal farming systems that you don't agree with. Largely those systems are where the huge majority of animal suffering occurs around the world. So if you don't engage with those systems, you don't impact on the lives of those billions of animals.
It looks nice and spacious, they're not crammed in, are they?
They are tied to a post, obviously, so they don't fight.
Though most animals in the Philippines are bred for their meat, fighting cocks are bred to kill. We were joined by Michael Mosley, one of the family which owns the farm.
And is this valuable?
Yeah. That cost 3,000 pesos.
3,000 pesos, so that would be about 50 pounds. 40 pounds in UK money, right, wow. That's quite valuable, isn't it?
The Mosley family owns 70 cockerels.
We conditioned them and prepared them for the fight.
Is it always a fight to the death?
Yeah.
It's very similar to boxing in the sense they have trainers and conditioners, and there's a lot of commercial sponsorship of it in the Philippines as well.
Yeah.
Some very big brands
associated with it.
Yes.
The birds go through a daily training session. Wild cockerels fight for territory using their rear talons, which stick out from the heel of the foot. Here, these talons are cut off to be replaced by a blade in a real fight. For their training, they wear protective gloves. There is a ritual preparation for the moment of the fight, orchestrated to raise the aggression and give the crowd a chance to place bets. First clawing, then touching, then full-on battle. This may look distressing, but the irony is that these are some of the best looked after animals in the Philippines.
No idea what his heart rate was doing beforehand, but you can certainly feel the heart beating where there. And you can see there's a little, really little boxing gloves on the spur there. And do you attach a blade?
Yeah.
It's like a sort of doctor's bag. Can I? That is vicious. Wow. It's like a surgical instrument. So I started off feeling quite gung-ho, and it was certainly really interesting watching them in the ring there, if you like, sort of eyeing each other up and then going for it in the way their ruffle came up, and it was actually quite exciting. But after a little while, I started thinking, particularly after I'd seen those blades, I thought, I don't need to see this. I really, really don't need to see them slashing each other to pieces. So I'm glad I did it, but I don't want to go any more.
Disasters create opportunities for foreign charities to improve animal welfare standards. But ingrained customs are hard to shift.
Do you think there is a difference between rearing chickens to eat them and rearing chickens effectively to fight? It generates a huge amount of income. It's an industry in a country where there isn't a great deal of industry. Yeah. They look reasonably well cared for, and they have a short, brutal ending. But
yeah, and it gives you an idea of the challenges we have to work with, because when you think about, say, farming practices, you can work to make them more humane, to prove that more humane methods are equally profitable or more profitable, but you can't change the end result of this kind of inhumane practice.
Every year, 200 million people are affected by natural disasters. Most live in poverty and depend on animals, so the vets are always on the move.
At the moment, we're looking at assessment of a drought that's emerging in Kenya, and then there's a volcano in Indonesia that is currently spewing ash all over the place, and there have been communities that have been evacuated away the animals have been left behind.
It's critical the team makes the most of its remaining time here to leave the new model farm up and running. But a farm obviously needs animals, so I'm off with Juan Carlos to buy some piglets. Until the insemination drive bears fruit, there's still a scarce resource. But Juan Carlos has found a litter.
I just close the mouth just to avoid the noise, you see? But it's not painful. It's not painful. The anatomy of them, this is for digging the hole.
Yeah.
You can touch it, you can touch it. Yeah. It's not painful for, no, you can pinch it. No, here. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Exactly, in this way.
Quite tough?
Yes, you can
little
see.
shovel?
Yes, it's a little shovel, exactly. So they can dig, they can do whatever. You see,
Why do they cut the tails off?
Because when they start to wag the tail, it's an attraction for the other animals. So they start to play and bite the tail, and when they bite the tail, they get infection in the tail.
He's checking for signs of respiratory disease, common in the aftermath of disasters.
Can you please hold the belly, because I don't want excessive pressure on the spine. They are really docile animals, as you can see. Want to hear it?
She's making quite a lot of noise. It's quite difficult to hear the lungs. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite clear and normal.
Very good.
Yeah.
Once Juan Carlos has checked each piglet, he starts to assess them as a group.
They're very inquisitive, aren't they?
Exactly. That's one important thing. They are alert, they are curious, and they will be easily trainable to move in and out of the natural pig pen.
The good news is that these piglets are perfect for Jennifer's farm. The bad news is that the farmer won't sell them yet. He's holding out for the highest possible price.
It's actually extremely important for the project that the pigs are in place so that they see how they settle in. And it would be hugely disappointing if everyone has to go home without the pigs.
Back at the farm, it's the moment of truth for Gerardo's innovative pig pen roof.
So they are now about to try and remove the roof, but the roof is awfully heavy, I have to say, and there seem to be a great number of them.
The engineer has built a stronger, heavier design than Gerardo wanted.
Jennifer isn't necessarily going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people.
She's gonna list 2 guys, and they have to do it safely.
Okay. So did that go as you planned?
No, it's still slow and it takes a lot of people.
Yeah.
When this was reinforced and made really heavy, rules changed. I want it to be done by 2 men.
Yeah.
That's the rule of thumb.
To make something that's more lightweight, they will have to switch one section of the roof from wood to bamboo.
It's interesting because I think what's actually happened here is that the engineer's vision, which is to build something really sturdy, has got in the way of Gerardo's vision, which is to build something which you can actually take apart quite easily and 2, maybe 3 people could remove. They're definitely running out of time. Not good. What a mess.
One thing that's certain is that they will soon have another typhoon. From my childhood here, I can still remember the violent storms. They have an average of 20 a year. The success or failure of the vet's mission will be measured in just a few months' time.
I need you to be even more quiet than with cattle.
I've come to a final training session with the new team of emergency vets. Juan Carlos has one more thing to teach them: how to move nervous pigs in a storm, a skill they can then pass on to Filipino farmers.
Don't kick, touch. Touch with the knee, touch with the knee.
Walk slowly.
This corralling method is based on an approach developed by the Canadian rancher Bud Williams in the 1960s.
They don't care what is happening, because what they just feel is like a wall approaching from the back. So they move where they find space.
It is surprisingly effective.
Squeeze and touch, squeeze and touch.
Moving animals quickly and calmly in a disaster is vital if you want them to survive.
Okay.
So it's much less stressful for the pigs than having to kind of hit them with sticks and make them go.
Exactly. Don't need to scream, to yell at them, to kick them, nothing at all.
So you got a typhoon warning, you get one of these out, you get your neighbors, your friends along, you need to move the pigs into a shelter.
Exactly.
Use this method. All you need is a bit of plastic like this.
Exactly.
I can imagine with a kind of storm beginning to rage, a lot of the pigs would start to get anxious, but that was very cool. Yeah, very simple, very elegant.
Although it's been short and intense, the training does seem to have made a favourable impression. It will give the animals in this area a better chance of survival come the next typhoon.
Great input, teamwork. What we have done here is history, because I think it's the first time in the Philippines that we use this kind of low-stress methods. So you are pioneers. And as pioneers, you're not only the one that history will remember you, but also you have the responsibility to make this to continue, to be sustained in time. So this is the result. Everybody happy, animals and us. Thank you very much.
It's the team's final day at Jennifer's farm, and they're rushing to finish their pioneering typhoon shelter. They need to complete the project before they leave to ensure it will be ready to be tested by the coming typhoon season.
They certainly have made spectacular progress from essentially something here and a hole in the ground here and nothing there in a week to what they have now.
The typhoon shelters are ready. Lightweight bamboo is replacing heavy wood panels on the pig pen roof. And the floor is full to the brim with pig-friendly compost.
This is more or less done.
Okay.
You just put greeneries and food there.
Okay. So you can put the piglets in there?
Yes, but I need that bit with cement and they're just pouring it. So that needs to dry out.
But there's one thing missing: the pigs themselves. Luckily, Juan Carlos has just received a call.
Remember the piglets? Okay, we're going there.
The farmer whose piglets we inspected is finally prepared to sell. The piglets destined for Jennifer's will be in for a pleasant surprise. Up till now, they've been reared in old-fashioned concrete stalls.
You look around, it just looks like some kind of medieval torture chamber. It's just metal and concrete, and it's all completely unnatural, it really is.
Do we have to pay now?
Yes.
The piglets are expensive, as livestock often are in the aftermath of disaster. The price of simple commodities like fuel and food can increase by 400%.
For their own safety, we use the sacks.
Finally, the piglets are on their way.
First bit of good news, eh?
Yes, very good news, and I'm very thankful.
I enjoy giving birth to a baby idea and taking it all the way through the kindergarten and to the school. And if we do the scientific method and do our job, it's going to be good. That will allow you to start working with the piglets. You have homework to do next week.
Every day, every day.
Whatever you learn, all the problems, we need the information.
Yes.
You are part of a giant experiment.
With the piglets finally arriving, the team have managed to complete their project just in time.
One by one.
All right, show me how to carry one, JC.
It's the culmination of a week of very hard work.
They're so warm. They're like little radiators. It's unbelievable.
It can be a tough job, you know, not very much sleep, burnt to pieces in the blazing sun, the everyday stress, but I can't really see myself doing anything else.
Oh, poor baby. At least for his animals, we did our job, and we did it well. No matter if it's one person or 1 million person, we changed the world.
I'm sure that wasn't a dignified way to do it.
These 10 piglets are pioneers in a new kind of farm.
5 girls and 5 boys.
That's very good.
They are happy, look healthy and happy. They are
Yes.
playing.
Yes. I'm sorry. Oh, I smell strongly of pig.
First thing they did was start digging around, and they were obviously very excited. Now we need to gather enough data to have a good case on whether or not this is a good way of raising pigs.
I'm genuinely moved. I'm really moved. I think you've done a splendid thing here. I think you're doing a really good thing here.
These 10 healthy piglets and their ingenious new home will offer Jennifer and her family the chance to rebuild their lives after Typhoon Haiyan and restore a vital source of food to her community. It may seem like a drop in the ocean, but if this project goes well, this one small farm could act as a catalyst to help improve the lives of animals across the Philippines.
The next thing, I guess, is you need to crunch numbers. You need to persuade the farmers, you need to persuade the bureaucrats, you need to persuade other people that this is kind of a commercially viable future.
I'm quietly confident that in 2 years' time we'll be able to kind of prove that this is a viable farming system, not just a rescue home for 10 pigs.
The charity will monitor the Typhoon project at Jennifer's to see if it can be used as a model elsewhere in the world.
Shows how smart they are, the fact that they work it out. So.
This experimental scheme has certainly shown me that it is possible to turn even the worst disaster into an opportunity for change.
There's a really important part of our work which involves being there for animals when other people can't be. The immediate work is very powerful beyond the point where you've removed the syringe from the cow or left the village. But I think we do have to use the aid side of things as leverage for the bigger change.
God is with us. We always.
Something's with us, mate.
I'm heading to the airport now. It has been an extraordinary week. I mean, I leave with huge respect for the team. They work incredible hours and they are utterly dedicated.
The seeds they've planted here, transforming Jennifer's farm and training a new generation of emergency vets, really could make a difference come the next disaster.
Now, will they succeed in helping change attitudes towards animal welfare here in the Philippines? I don't know. One thing, however, is absolutely certain. If there is another disaster somewhere on the planet, they'll be heading there.